Ronald Mayhew, born 12/11/45 in Mooresville, North Carolina.
I'm Jessie Mayhew. I was born 1934.
What do you remember about Mooresville growing up?
Nothing on playing and stuff.
Nothing in particular. You didn't have much to do in Mooresville. All we did was all the games we did, we made. We shot marbles. Mm-hmm. We played in the woods.
Jump rope,
jumping boards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, jumping board. I like it.
Yeah, and you really didn't have a lot of things to do as growing up. We didn't have no basketball. We didn't play basketball. We didn't have basketball courts. Everything. All our games was man-made games. Mm-hmm. The kids, because people at that age didn't have money to do what kids do now. So we just hung out. We done a lot of stuff that we wasn't supposed to do. We made slingshots, and we shot steeples at the trucks. At that time, 150 was a bypass for the big trucks, and we laid on the house and we shot steeples at the trucks as they came up the road.
We put walnuts in them.
And then we throw the water.
Walnuts in the middle of the street.
Yeah, see, and we throw it. West End was the capital of Mooresville. Everybody that grew up on West End was a close-knit family. Mm-hmm. And we hung out up on the corner until the lights went out. Mm-hmm. Kurt and them stayed on the lower end, and it was dark down there where he stayed at. But we stayed up on your mama never did bother you. She said when the street lights come on, it's time to come home. Mm-hmm. Once I got to be 15 or 16, and I got to hang out with my brothers. But if my brothers, it was different. If I come home first, I had to tell where my other brothers was at. And if they couldn't come home if I wasn't home. So we was all together, but when I got to be 13 or 14, I didn't get to stay out a little later. But I had as long as I was with my brothers. But Mooresville and West End was different. It's everything go on. We happens on West End, and anybody that come to West End, like if it snowed, they had to leave West End in a hurry. We was all evil. We was all mischievous, but we never done anything to hurt people. It was all in fun, But it was crazy. But we never had nothing to do. That was the biggest problem. We had to create stuff to do, and it was just crazy. Because we played ball till we started playing ball. Then we started playing ball when it was different. Once we got to be teenagers, but we played ball all the time.
Baseball?
Basketball, baseball, softball. We played baseball and basketball. But we didn't have no one to play. We had to play in the dirt. It was like now kids got poor courts to play on, they got asphalt courts to play on, we played dirt. But we'd leave the house in the morning. When we get up in the morning, we leave the house. We didn't come back no more till the sun go down. But the way life is now, you get to watch your kids all 24 hours a day. You can't do like we did. My mom never worried about where I was when I was. She knew I was out somewhere playing, but I wasn't out off the street. But we played. Got up in the morning. When we left, went out that door in the morning. You didn't come back no more till the sun went down. But we was out across the street playing ball all day long. That's all we had to do. Couldn't work. But the kids now that 14, 15 ain't get a job.
Yeah,
we couldn't work. We couldn't work. Could we? No. My sister did, but when she was like a teenager. Mm-hmm. But it was hard. It was hard and different. And you come from a family of 9, mm-hmm. and you only got one parent, 2 people, one parent. Wasn't nothing for the women to do to work at. And a mother couldn't work and take care of the kids too. So it's different. That's why. But see, it was different with me. By being the 7th child, I had it a little easier than the older child did. Because as they progressed out of school, they took care of the other kids. And said, so but maybe in time I got to high school, all my older kids was out of school. So I was different. I was easier for me to process than for my older brothers and sisters because there were so many of them.
Tell us about your parents. If you don't mind.
My mom was real sweet lady. And it's different. People really don't understand. You know, my mama was 9 of us, and she was real calm and real sweet. You never know she had a temper, never did get mad, anything, and you know, but.
What did they do for a living?
My daddy had a good, he drove, at that time, if he was in this day of time, he could have made some money. He operated a bulldozer. And at that time, bulldozer money paying was like, I think he made something like $10 a day or something like that, $45, $50 a week with 9 kids. You know, your parents, like I said, my mother didn't work. Once in a while, she'd go out and do something different, but so it was hard, you know, but had it been for my grandparents, I don't know what we'd have done. You know, but my grandparents stayed on the farm and they provided a lot of stuff that we didn't have. But they raised their own food, their own vegetables and stuff like that, and it made it a lot easier for my parents. But people now it's all, you take care of yours, and I take care of mine. But people don't do that no more. That's why I was raised different. That's why you see me with my grandkids all the time, because that's the way I was raised. To take care, you know, I take care of take care of each other. But some people don't care where their kids are. You know, once they get out of the house, they don't care what they're doing. That's why so many of them end up in jail. You know, it's not right to just put your kids out and don't worry about what they do and what they don't do. Because, you know, it's, like I said, like I grew up, like I was 9 of us. And my sisters and brothers took care of one another. My older brother, well, before my older brother got killed, he wouldn't let us do nothing. I thought he was my daddy one time. He was so hard on us, it was pitiful, it was bad. You know, and then my sisters was the same way. We had to do right or else. But it wasn't all the time my daddy and mom, it was my brothers and sisters.
Let's take a break real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He cut hair. That's what his first job. He cut hair all the time. On Sundays, he cut hair all day long. We had a cafe. At first, it was you probably don't remember Frank James. You don't remember that? Frank James Cafe. You remember that?
Yeah.
Frank James Cafe. And then before Mr. Terry took over. Then Mr. Terry took over and run it forever. And then we had Jim Frank on the corner up there, and that was our hangout. You know, but you know, we had another store that was up there where the church used to be, where Congregation Church used to be. You don't remember that either? Do you remember that? My grandfather, actually, I used to stay with my grandfather. And he'd take me up there every day, because he had you know, my mom was, I don't know what my mom was doing, but I stayed with my grandfather. And I would go over and walk when my grandfather died when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And like that lady was always talking to her about Mayhew Town situation. My grandfather was strictly from the Mayhew Town area. But that's why everybody don't understand, realize that's why she always tried to connect us with Mayhew Town, but we don't know anything about that. But my grandfather did. He was raised over there in the Mayhew Town area. And I'm not going to get into it, but he was, I'll tell you when you get off the camera, but.
No, we need to know.
My grandfather was half white. But a lot of people don't know that. You know, they don't know. They know we connected to the Mayhew. They don't know how. My grandfather, he was half white and half black. So he was old. I don't know how old he was when he died, but
Was he asleep?
I don't know. I was only 6 when he died, 6 or 7 when he died, so I don't really know. But I remember him, but I don't remember, you know, because my mama and them was all raised in Mount Moon, was born in Mount Moon. Was you born in Mount Moon too? Mm-hmm. You was born in Mount Moon? Mm-hmm. See, the oldest one, they was born in Mount Moon. But we were born in Mooresville. I don't know where Billy was. Billy born in Mount Moon too?
Mm-hmm. Better hear.
So I don't remember. I don't know because they was all out of Mount Moon, but I don't remember where it all.
It's, he got that thing still on?
Yes. But you know, like I say,
Maybe we need to know.
but I mean, we don't. I mean, that's all I know. I know that we grew up, and you know, and on the West End. All this wasn't here, you know, and all we had dirt streets, rocks everywhere. But you know, like Kurt, we had fun. We had fun. I mean, we didn't have it all. We didn't have a lot. But we had fun and wasn't stressed out, and we all got along with each other, and we didn't fight, and we didn't hurt each other, and everybody has little fights and playing balls. We shot, and people ask kids about shooting marbles. They never heard of a marble.
That's right.
Do you know what shooting marbles are? we shoot marbles. It's a marble. We draw around a circle in the ground, and we shoot marbles. That's the game we play. But we play for keeps, you know, and that's the biggest fights we have. We'll be fighting over marbles, you know. But you probably seen the marbles come in the cereal box, cat eye marbles. We used to shoot marbles. We used to play marbles. That was in the fish tank. We had a game with that. He laughing, Kate, but that's all we played. That's what we played, marbles. People, I had my kids. I said, y'all ever play marbles? No, they ain't never tell them about. Pitch horseshoes.
Yeah.
But we didn't have. I tell them, they don't believe me. We didn't pitch horseshoes with the horseshoes they got now. We pitch horseshoes with the regular horseshoes. My grandfather, we live on the farm. When the man changed horses on the horseshoe, they bring us the shoes. And we play a game with them. I'm telling the truth. I mean, that's all I'm telling the truth, but they don't believe me. We play horseshoes with regular horseshoes. That's where the game come from. Horses. But you know, it was a game, and that's all you had to do. You had to make out the best you could with what you had. You know, and there wasn't 3 meals a day. You might eat. You know, you eat what you could find. My grandmother would cook in the morning. What you cook in the morning, if you didn't eat what was on that table, and you didn't eat till your daddy got home. You sat there, you don't care how hungry you was, you sat there and you'd be hungry. And if you didn't eat right then, whatever was on the table, you ate. If you didn't eat, you didn't get nothing. You couldn't run out and get McDonald's. We didn't have no McDonald's and no Hardee's or nothing like that. All you had was the kitchen. If you were hungry, if you didn't eat, you didn't get nothing.
You mentioned being born in Mooresville. Were you born in the black hospital that you mentioned?
Me?
Was he born in the black hospital that you mentioned?
Yes.
He was. Where was the hospital?
Lawrence. Over there where the courthouse is at.
And that was a black hospital?
The black hospital. It was Lawrence. Well, no, it wasn't black. No, it wasn't black. It was completely black. No. They had certain floors where black people sleep. Oh, you didn't go to certain floors.
Oh, yeah.
But then it wasn't all black. But see, that's why until the Lake Norman took it over. See, Lawrence, when Lake Norman took it over, that's why it was different. Lawrence was controlled by the state.
Yeah.
They get ready to be that way again. See, they get ready to buy it out again. See, but if you ain't the way it is now, if you don't get the insurance, you don't get taken care of. It wasn't that way at Lawrence. But you know, it wasn't a black hospital all totally. That I know of.
Do you remember anything about segregation-wise, as far as had to go in the back doors, the side doors? Any stories that you have about?
Sally's Grill. There was a grill uptown called Sally's, and it was about like the Whataburger, but you go up, you couldn't get in the front. You had to go to the back door to go. But they had to go in the back door, and they had seats around the back. You go in and sit down and eat. And any place, that's the only place I know that you could go uptown. The only place uptown that you could go in and eat. Every place else you could go, you could buy something, but you couldn't sit down. You go in and get it and come out. And you go in the stores uptown, they follow you around like you're gonna steal something, you know, whatever. I think Dale Five and Dime had a store. I don't know if you could sit down. I can't remember when you could sit down in there or not. They had a lunch counter in there, but I can't remember if you could sit down there and eat or not. But wasn't many places uptown that you could go and sit down there. The salads were just like a little, they just go in there, sit down, drink beer, eat. But you know, but you got to go in the back door. You couldn't go in the front. But that's the only one I remember uptown. We didn't go to town much. Like I said, we had Terry's Cafe. We go in there and sit down and eat, you know, but that's the only place.
What role do you think the church played in this area back then? Yeah.
What you mean? How? Played how?
Up until 1973, what role do you think the churches in the area played in the community?
It all depends how you look at the churches. Wasn't like they are now. There was everybody, you know. I used to come to church every Sunday, and I used to hear my brother say it all the time. And we had a club down on the other end of the street. It was the Elks Club. And my mom used to fuss at my brother about going to church. My oldest brother, he said, Mama, why I want to go to church on Sunday for? I said, them same people standing up there and taking up money, standing at the Elks home at night when I go down to Elks home. You know, I didn't never understood that. You know, I never understood, you know, but what he's saying is, and once I got older, and I seen it, you know, so everybody that come to church then, you know, that was just a formality. Everybody that's come to church wasn't saved. It was just a formality thing. They come to church and they stand up and they take up money, and they count money, and then they go down, and then as soon as church is over, and when the sun go down, they're down at the club. You know, but as a kid, you don't understand, so you think that that's all right. What they're doing is fine. But you don't know. I don't know. Until you get older, then you understand what they're doing. They're doing it. That ain't right. So everybody back then, people were going to church. They were just coming for a formality. They didn't know nothing about God. They didn't know nothing about being saved.
Most of them.
You come to church. I still come to church up here for Miss Reverend Moore's here for a long time. The door of the church never was open.
What about civil rights wise? Do you remember anything in Mooresville? And if so, who played a role in that?
Before 73.
Yes.
I don't know. She wasn't here. She wasn't here.
I graduated in 52.
Same year I started school.
And you graduated
64.
from?
But I can't remember, but it wasn't a bunch of stuff going on. If it was in Mooresville, because it was a long time. But when I left home in 64, in 65, but I came back in 67, right? The schools was integrated when I came back home. But when I left, it wasn't integrated. I can't remember, I think the last class, what class was you in, Kirk?
I was 60s.
Was you the last class in Dunbar?
Last class in Dunbar.
So,
You had a question?
Let's stop for a second.
I wanted
You gotta look there.
what you want me to say?
What do you remember about?
I remember the Sunday school picnics we had, but he was a Presbyterian, but all the churches went on the Sunday school picnic. I know Watkins Chapel and Jerusalem always combined to go to Sunday school picnic. Some of us rode on buses. Couldn't ride buses, you go right in, some people drove, but we all would go to, you packed a lunch, and we always went to Shelby, the Sunday school picnics, and spent for a whole day. Whoever wanted swimming pool, playing basketball, whatever you wanted to do for Sunday school picnic, but I think that all went away in the years down the road.
Is there a reason you went to Shelby instead of going to
Because Shelby is the only one that had a black recreation department that we could visit. Then when they talked about, everybody was talking about David Thompson.
playing basketball, being from Shelby. Oh, Shelby, they had a gym we went through. They had a swimming pool. And they always talked about David Thompson David Thompson never played on no basketball outside on hoops, on basketball tires. He had a gym to play in. We talked about that. It was a black neighborhood, a black recreation department, and they had a completely gym that was run by black people. But nobody ever understood that. They saw he didn't want to play, but they played basketball in the gym. Shelby and High Point was the only one that had a black recreation department for black people. That's why they picked Shelby. We couldn't go nowhere else. Shelby or High Point. Every year went to Shelby. Shelby was a nice place, but it was, like I said, it was all black, all run by black people. But it was a rural area. But I never done this, but I was too young to understand why I was all, why we always went to Shelby, but until later.
What else do you remember about Moore?
I remember Reverend Moore a long time. I remember he was here for a long time. And actually started the church, but he was Reverend McKenzie. I remember Reverend McKenzie. I got to know him because he was a substitute teacher. He come to that's how I got to know Reverend McKenzie, because a lot of kids that I went to school with went to Presbyterian. Reverend Moore, I remember Reverend Moore, since he baptized me the first time I got baptized before I left home. When I came back, I don't know whether he was here when I came back or not, but he was here for a long time. But he was a real good speaker. He was a real good guy. And the Reverend McKenzie, he was just, well, as much as I know about him, he was the only priest I ever know to be a Presbyterian until he died.
Is there anything else that you want to share about Black Mooresville growing up? Anything about Dunbar?
I'm glad you asked me.
Yeah, but it was all right. But like I said, we didn't have a lot of stuff. Biggest part I hate about Dunbar, we took all the hand-me-downs. Whatever the high schools, Mooresville Senior High School didn't want, they sent it to us. We wanted new basketball suits, we get their hand-me-downs. Up to my last year in school, we finally got some new ones that we actually bought. But they was all hand-me-downs. It wasn't right. But whatever they didn't want, we didn't get the stuff that the high school got. They have brand. That's why we never had a football team. We didn't have equipment. Didn't have a stadium. Didn't have nothing. We didn't now have they built the gymnasium, I think, when I was in the first grade. They didn't have a gym. I remember when I first started school, I sat in the window and watched them play basketball out there on the dirt. Outside court. They draw lines on the court, but line. And they were playing ball on the outside with outside basketball courts. That's when I was in the second grade. We had to pay 15 cents to go outside and watch them play outside. To play basketball outside. And we could look out the window and watch them play. I mean, it would be cold. And they'd be outside playing basketball. And I think they built the gym when I was in like the third or fourth grade. They finally finished the gym. But I can remember them playing basketball outside in the cold. But things changed. Like I say, when I left here, schools wasn't segregated. When I got back, they were segregated. When they first started, I think my brother-in-law, well, you could go if you wanted to, but my brother-in-law, Ronnie Hooper, went just when they first allowed people to go, but they only had one or two that really wanted to go. But I think I remember him going. And my brother Paul, he went when he could go. No. Reverend Woods was the principal of Dunbar. I don't know what he was. He might have been. He looked like he was white. But he was from I never did understand the system. You know, all our teachers that we had at Dunbar, none of them local. Mr. Woods from Greensboro. All our regular teachers was from out of town. Nobody that was local. They came here from other states, other cities. They stayed here all week and went home on the weekend. Only two teachers that we ever had that was local was Joanne Alexander. That was our cousin. Well, her, Miss Campbell, Miss Margaret Caldwell, her, Joanne and her sister, Vicky was a teacher. She, I don't think she ever talked about Joanne did. Their mother was my grandma, Mayhew, sister. You know, she was the first teacher that I don't know that was local here more other than Vicky. Miss Caldwell. Miss Caldwell was our first grade teacher, and Miss Campbell, she wasn't really from here though, I don't think. I think she moved here from somewhere.
May.
No. That was after you. Just, I don't know, never did know her first name. Ralph Campbell was the mom. I don't know if they was from here or not. If anybody was following it, you never knew it. It was everybody was. You get yours and I got mine. You know, you wasn't nobody that could to. But that was after I was young, like over Stevenson. That was afterwards. I don't know what year. I don't know what years that was. I can't remember. That high school over there, but that was all the way down there. But see, they had help. But we don't. But they work for these people. They put them in those positions. But for anybody to start from scratch, I don't know. I didn't know nobody. You had to know somebody you had to know somebody to know somebody. Yeah, I remember that. There was a deacon in the church, I don't know. I remember playing baseball. I remember his wife. I could remember his wife. He had a hut down there on the ball field. My brother and them would take me over to the ball game. And she'd be selling fish. He'd be selling the... That's the truth. I mean, that's all it was. Every Saturday, that's all, you know, every Saturday was a thing. I mean, it was a big thing, you know. That's why he owned all that. I don't know how he owned all that land. But he owned all the land. Yeah. But you know, I couldn't be the land he owned. My sister, I know my sister and my brother-in-law said when they started selling that land, they were buying $1,000 all day. That land right now could have been selling for $4,000 or $5,000 all day or more. He sold every bit of it for $1,000. Black people didn't vote. They didn't nobody know about voting. They nobody know about registering vote. Never heard telling about nobody vote. As I was growing up, I never heard nobody vote. Black people just wasn't something that they did. It wasn't advertised. Like, main thing about it, we didn't have no TVs to see it. We didn't know what was going on. But at that time, nobody had TVs. You only knew what was going on. Somebody told you. We never knew anything. Oh, why do you think Joe Knox was the mayor for 40-something years until he died? You know, whoever see a mayor being that mayor that long in his life? There never was no election. If it was, he was the mayor every year. Nobody had run it that many times and be a mayor that many times. If I was a kid, Joe Knox was the mayor. And he was a mayor when I left, since I was after I was become a grown man. He would still been a mayor if he hadn't died, or he's dead. I mean, who does that? They don't, they wasn't, I don't remember ever voting for to be the mayor, do you? I don't never remember ever voting to be the mayor. And he ran the whole town, you know. I know one time it snowed, you know, and you come around and say, why don't you scrape the road? But they really hit, well, we had to go over and get Joe Knox's driveway scraped out. That was the difference, you know. They didn't care about how you was gonna get to work or how in it, but they had to go over and scrape the mail yard, you know. I mean, like I said, we don't know about, nobody knows about voting. Nobody did register to vote, you know. So like now, that's why people don't vote now, because they don't ever think it's gonna change anything. People say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Man, whoever, they tell you they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. But as soon as they get elected, they don't do nothing. Just like I watched the mayor from Charlotte on TV. Every time you turn around, she's involved in something. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. What have you ever seen a Mayor Moore be involved in? Never seen him saying what they're gonna do. All they're doing is spending money. They got brand new trucks sitting over there right now. All brand new trucks in the city is falling apart. All the money spent where it don't need to be spent. And people hungry. Can't get nothing to eat, but they got trucks. Just like they took the feed thing away from soup kitchen and turned it into an organization. And those people not gonna get fed like they was at the soup kitchen. They got that feed people, that feed thing. They're not gonna get to what they got at the regular soup kitchen. Why did they take it over? Anybody got an answer? Why they change the name? Why did they just let it be a regular soup kitchen? People go in there and get something to eat and go home. Now they just built this extraordinary place up there on 21. You seen it? You wouldn't believe it. What they need all that big bill before this people come in and sit down and eat? Look like some kind of office building or some kind of organization or something, or a plan or something. Just go for them to just come in and sit down and eat. And I know they was talking about the school, the new school they built. I didn't know they were building until a week I went by. Some months ago I went by there. Selma Burke School. You been by there? Over there on Ranhart Road? They building a brand new school. They got Selma Burke's name, but I don't know who's running the school, who's gonna be in charge of the school. But they're using my name. Somebody needs to know. I mean, if they're going to have Selma Burke's name tacked on it, do anybody know who Selma Burke is? You know who she is? Selma Burke. She was a black shelter. She done to learn the statue of the guy named South. She the one Selma Burke sent over there. They Garfield Drive. They used to be it was they got a name for Selma Burke. It was a restoration center. Jim Frank Carr built city ordinance. But they're attached to I don't know who bought it, but they attached Selma Burke's name to the center. Maybe Kirsten. But her name is attached to the center, but they made it a recreation center. But I think the city is also running it. I don't think. Do you think it's right to use somebody's name or somebody else's situation? That's what I'm saying. If you gonna put baby, but who knows who her name is attached to it? Selma Burke was what's the middle one? Selma Burke was one of but Selma Burke, they built a brand new school over there. Around her, brand new school. It's gonna be like a college school. Throwing it up, over it up. people, police, well, no, but, when I first came home from Vietnam, my brother moved up, that's when they had Rick Hall, and people like Rick Hall come, on the police force, they don't go up there and put application. So I went up and put application. And, first thing he asked me, if I wanted to make me to live on with me. And I said, so West End, he said, West End, people from West End got a bad vibe for people. You could go to school. First thing you know, well, even West End is different. It was a different situation. But, so, evidently, they were hiring people, they had this, but see, people don't understand that 10% of minority could be one. You know what I'm saying? They got to have 10% of minority. That could be two. As long as the 10%, it don't have to be a whole half of your force, but because where I lived at, he wouldn't hire me. And I just came home to Vietnam. I was a Marine, ex-Marine, just came home. And he would think that's what they look for people. Be on the police force. Didn't work. I guess that's why Rich and them didn't last long. I think Thomas Ross lasted till he retired. But in the black people they got now, they're not promoted. Y'all don't know nothing about black people, black police officers. It's just like they don't want black police officers from their own city to get a police officer. I don't understand why. But the guy that got the white dude that got killed over there, called the Rick, he was from Moore. The one that talked about forever, he was from Moore. Why they can't, black people can't be, why they get to get out black police officers from out of town? Last question. What's that? Yeah. Do you know any of them? I don't know none of them.